He's moving into the middle of next week. Dave?
Steve, thanks. As we've been reporting now, a short time ago, the House gave final approval of the president's nearly $2 trillion COVID-19 relief package. It provides immediate financial support to millions of Americans struggling during the pandemic. But these past 12 months have a lot of folks reevaluating their lives when it comes to work and finances. Turns out more than a quarter of those asked in a recent survey said they're now more likely to start a new business or find a new job. In fact, 70% said they're considering adding another source of income. So joining us this afternoon, Stephen Fletcher. He's a certified financial advisor, a member of the National Association of Personal Financial Advisors. It's a nonprofit organization which is responsible for the survey. It's great to have you with us. Thanks for your time. Are you surprised by this, Steve? Are you hearing this from your clients, or is this one of those things that maybe you suspected was going on, and this is just further proof?
You know, I think it's definitely expected. I think it's further proof. My firm especially, we work with a lot of business owners, and that's what we've seen. They've had to lay some employees off or at least furlough them. And so it impacts not only employees, but even the business owners themselves in the way that they are able to keep an income. So it's really not surprising. It's sad. I wish it wasn't as significant as it was, but it just goes to show the far-reaching impact that COVID has had over the last 12 months.
And big picture, it occurs to me that it has a lot of people on both sides of that equation sort of reevaluate how they're going to move forward. You know, if I'm a worker and I've been working from home and I kind of like that, or I like sort of the independence of it and think that that may be a direction I want to go. If I'm an employer, it's kind of like, you know, wow, I'm getting by with a lot fewer people in the office or the building or wherever. Maybe I don't need this grand space. So there's a lot of reevaluation, it seems to me, that's happening right now.
There's definitely reevaluation. We've seen that borne out. Certainly real estate, when it comes to office space, has hurt a little bit because you do have such a strong investment into technology. Things like Zoom definitely was a good time to invest in that in early 2020. But you're seeing, I think, a big push by a lot of employees to get into a role where they have that flexibility, where they can work from home. It is interesting. I think there are some industries that are looking to get back into the office. Makes it certainly a little bit easier for me to meet with clients face to face. But it is definitely changing the way that employees and employers have to think going forward.
If I am thinking about, as an individual, of either changing jobs, careers, or maybe even trajectory of what I'm in now, where should I start? What should I be doing right now as I'm making that reappraisal?
That's a great question. I think firstly, you know, you need to take into account what it is that excites you. You need to be doing something that is going to work very well for the way that you want to live life and move forward. I would also strongly recommend that you do partner with a financial planner. You know, that's where NAPFA, the National Association of Personal Financial Advisors, comes in. You know, it's really our job to help people, not only as they stand on such a significant precipice of how to move forward and should they reevaluate their job or search for a different job. There's so many potential unknowns and pitfalls that exist in certainly changing a career or starting a business, and things that you're not necessarily going to think about that can have a very strong impact. So finding that financial partner, I think, is a very good first step.
And it occurs to me, too, that that's one of those things that you might immediately say, well, if I'm going to make these big changes, the last thing I can do is spend money on something like that. But is this a question of spending some now and saving more later? Is that the value in your view?
Absolutely, Dave. I think that you can definitely be kept from making the wrong decision, as well as you just mentioned, it can be a little bit at the front end to get those very simple, very easy to follow steps that are not only going to get you where you're ultimately trying to go, but get you there the right way. Each person is obviously very unique. And so even if you have an ultimate goal of starting a business, that's going to look different to two people in different situations. So it's not just about getting a plan, it's about getting the right plan and a plan that you can actually follow so that you are more likely to be able to reach your goals.
Very interesting advice. Stephen Fletcher is a certified financial advisor. And giving us a lot to think about, because clearly, according to this survey, there are a lot of people who are doing that thinking right now. Many thanks.
Thanks, Dave.
Starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel of the coronavirus pandemic. After the break, we would think of that ordinarily as a good thing, wouldn't we? Actually, though, for some people, it's creating even more anxiety, and we'll explain why.